like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast. And today we're doing working from home. So, working from home, most people honestly can't do it. Remote work. And if you have kids, it's even harder. Small children, it's even harder. Every interruption costs 20 minutes of lost productivity. And so, your family is one of your biggest hindrances from working from home. They're like, well, you can work from home. You've got all the time. You can run this. You can do this. You can do this. People stop by and talk and all that kind of stuff. And so if you're working from home, you have to have tremendous discipline and you have to train everybody around you to respect your time. You need to train them on how to, um, that every interruption costs 20 minutes of lost productivity. And so when I started working from home, our youngest two sons were 3 and 5. And, we had 7 kids at home. Donna Marcus started laughing when she said, because she had 4 kids, and she said, "Welcome to my world, Mark. Like you're going to see," like she's kind of taunting and mocking me. And Rosanna was on the podcast and she laughed. And Rosanna said, "Well, you don't understand Mark." So I go home working from home. And again, there's a 3 and a 5-year-old boys. They're pretty active. And they're interrupting me like throughout the day. Like after a day or two of this, I'm like, I'm dying here. So after a couple of days of this, they come running into my office and it was separate. So ideally, you really need to have a workspace just for work. Like this is your job. This is your work. This is like a tool. So you want it to have where it's efficient and you're not going to get distracted. And so you don't have anybody there watching you. You don't have anybody there. You can be non-productive and it'll show in your results, but it's not going to be easy to see. It's not going to be, you can do things inefficiently. And in this section of working from home, there'll be a bunch of tips on how to do that. But it's your business to serve your customers well. You have to be efficient. So you need to schedule your time and say, treat yourself like an employee. You need to start at a certain time and at a certain, you need to make sure you're treating yourself like an employee. Don't give yourself too much room. Like be hard on yourself. And so when they came and interrupted again, I said, "Hey boys, Dad's great. Great to see you," because they wanted to show me what they're coloring, what they're doing, all the things that, little kids do. And I didn't want to discourage them. I mean, they're 3 and 5, but Dad's got to work. Like he's got to be productive. Like, so I said, "You guys probably don't understand this." So again, they're 3 and 5. Imagine being a dad, 3 and 5-year-old boys, very, very active. And imagine what that's like. And so I said to them, I said, "Hey boys, look at Dad." So, they have to pay attention. And then I said, "You probably don't recognize this, but but every interruption costs 20 minutes of lost productivity based on university studies. So what's a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old going to do when they hear their dad say that?"
They're going
They're
to look
three.
at you like, what are you talking about?
Right. They're like deer in headline. They had no idea. I said, "Let me explain what that means to you guys." So Dad's, now that he's working from home, he gets to take an hour lunch. And so working from home requires massive amount of discipline. I mean, massive amount of discipline. You can't go ahead and wander around like in the procrastination video. You can't wander around and do this and check your Facebook and check social media or be distracted by this and this. You got to work really, really hard and be really dedicated and really focused. So I said, now the Dad's working from home, um, we get to wrestle. So I get off lunch, get off for lunch, wrestle for 20 minutes. Then I have a 20-minute lunch and then we wrestle again. That's what little boys do. And I said, so I explained, that's what we do. And they're like, "Okay, Dad." And I said, "So if you guys interrupt me once, I can't wrestle with you." "Wow. If you interrupt me twice, I can't eat lunch. You guys like to have lunch. Dad likes to have lunch. If you guys interrupt me twice, I don't get lunch. If you interrupt me 3 times in a day, we don't get to wrestle. Now, I didn't bring up that they wrestled when we got off of work too, because that's what boys do with dads. They just love to wrestle. You can't wrestle too much. They just and so I told them, I said, so I tried to invoke pain on them. Like your lack of discipline, but they're 3 and 5. I can't do this. Like I'll have to go back and work from the office. And I mean, it dried it up just like that. Now with women, that's harder for them with children. Men, hey, this is what it is. Women have a heart for children, love that women have a heart for children, but you're going to make less money. You just will, or you're not going to be able to work from home. And so there's benefits from working from home. There's benefits from having the freedom, but then there's responsibility that come with that. And so, when you go ahead and share reflection, are you taking good notes? Like, do I have a good workspace? And do I have everyone trained around me so you can't interrupt me? I've got to do. So you chunk interruptions during lunch. Like, okay, you can interrupt me when I'm eating. That's fine. But so you got to train the human beings around. You got to have a good working environment. Any other tips that you have, Elaine, in working from home?
Yeah, you gotta time block a lot of things, or at least I do. I time block a lot of things. I set my timers. When the timer goes off, I drop everything and I go do what the next needs to be done, in order for me to stay on schedule. So I like doing that.
Nice. Roseanne, any tips that you have?
Time blocking with the kids too, giving them time. This is the time I'll have to, take you to the park, or this is the time I'll have to give you a snack or something like that, or teach them how to get their own snacks and, give them some sort of prize for doing so.
Right. You can have them start their own business at 3 years old and they clean up and they get paid for it from mom or dad. So there's absolutely, and they're black holes. You can't ever spend enough time with them. You can't ever give them enough attention. And so, so be thankful. Like my grandkids, they've learned from grandpa, not from grandma so much, but grandpa, they've learned you be thankful for what you have, or grandpa won't give it to you next time. Grandpa will read 2 books. But when grandpa says, I'm going to read 2 books, that's what I'm going to read. Well, grandpa, one more. No, grandpa said 2 books. That's what it is. If you're not thankful for what you have, grandpa won't read any books next time. And so again, it's harder for a woman to enforce those things, with people with kids. Nora, any suggestions you have in working from home?
Not that I can think of.
All right. So each of the different personalities have a strength and weaknesses. We'll talk about that. The amiable, you got to watch your people, because your people will take advantage of you. You're analytic. Make sure you're big picture and you're not just doing things just like petty, like it's OCD. Like it's got to be, no, you got to get the quantity out there. Expressive, time blocking. Here's a list. This is what I need to do. Proper prioritization. And the driver, make sure that you got your people covered. Like we're doing all of the tasks for the people. Like everything we do is for people. So hopefully this session was beneficial to everybody. Make sure you do a great reflection. We'll see you. Bye.